So Acts 2 and 3 of the Tempest are when things really start to fracture, right? On the surface, you've got comedy and survival, but underneath it, Shakespeare's staging something a lot darker. What happens when authority disappears on the island?
Now, this is a crazy scene, 2-1. I mean, first of all, speaking of late Shakespearean style, it's a really interesting scene in which you move from verse to prose, and you'll notice that this idea of picking up in the caesura of people's speech is used a lot in late Shakespeare. You'll see it with a lot of late Shakespearean verse that characters interrupt each other's lines, as it were, and speak half lines that are not fully verse. But we get a really sort of negative portrait of Sebastian and Antonio here. I mean, the guys have been escaped from death, and Gonzalo's like, oh, this is amazing. This is a beautiful island, and how the hell did we escape death? And they just spend the entire time making fun of Gonzalo, Puritans, and, you know, finding any reason to think about sex and mocking Gonzalo's optimism. Gonzalo's like, well, how do we get so clean? And they're like making fun of him. Well, you know, you're not that clean. You got mud in your pockets, which I don't know if it's supposed to be true. I thought the point was that he was clean. I think it's just like they're just being silly. But you get a real sense that these people do not take life seriously, and they're not able to be attentive to the miracles of the everyday or something like that. They're not able to, you know, like Shakespeare's famous characters who abandon the court and go back to green nature, to just feel blessed every day, to wake with the sun and, I don't know, do yoga on the dock or whatever they do, whatever they do. Hunt the deer. And then, of course, you know, things get all the worse the moment a drowsiness falls upon Gonzalo especially, and the other one, and Sebastian and Antonio are like, methinks I see a crown dropping upon thy head. This scene is very long, and then we realize, oh, this is getting interesting. If you knew but how the purpose cherish wells, thus you mock it, how in stripping it you more invest it. Ebbing men indeed most often do near the bottom run by their own fear of sloth. They eventually get on the same page together, and decide, okay, let's kill them. Right? We're on an island. I mean, who's gonna stop us? There's no laws here. They draw. And then this is really weird. I don't know what this is actually supposed to mean. They talk apart for a second. Oh, but one word. Well, why does he have one word? It's like you spent a lot of words trying to figure out how to... this is just like a theatrical technique, but why not have Ariel enter when they draw and immediately stop their blades and sort of freeze time as he does elsewhere? Anyway, whatever. Gonzago and Alonso wake up, and Sebastian and Antonio do their best to pretend as though nothing's happened. So we have that version of, and I think these are both like little mini allegories of colonialization or colonization in some ways, because we've got Sebastian and Antonio scheming the first second they get, there's no laws here. We can do whatever we want. We can betray the king and country that sent us here. We can, whatever. We'll just, you know, be lawless, right? It's the treasure of the Sierra Madre. It's the Wild West out here. And then the Caliban Trinculo is an even funnier one, because this is more like just like giving guns and alcohol to the natives and stealing all their land. And Caliban and Trinculo saying, "Wow, you know, you gotta." Trinculo's, you know, washed up and he's completely hammered, and he's spending all of his time just drinking through everything that he's found.
And maybe that's ultimately what's so unsettling here, that Shakespeare shows us kind of how quickly order breaks down when people think there are no rules. The island becomes this space where exploitation just fills the vacuum that's left behind.